Welcome to the Goldfinger Minute, where every man has a story to tell and a reason to come to the Philippines. So stay tuned for some amazing stories.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Goldfinger Minute. Today I have with me Michael D. Hello, Michael D.
Hi, Goldfinger.
And you're from?
Was raised in Long Island, and I currently live in New Jersey.
Okay.
So I've been around the New York City area my whole life.
New York City. Here he is. Now, have you ever been to the Philippines before?
No, this is my second day in the Philippines.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I'm pretty much a Philippines virgin or whatever.
We put a newbie. We could put a V on your head.
Yeah, newbie,
like virgin. So, what did you do in the States?
Oh, that's a good question. I was a data scientist for my whole life, 35 years. When I first started, I was a statistician. I have an advanced degree in mathematics, so I'm a nerd, stamped out. But it's done well. My career, I would rate it a C+. I never got fired, but never really got any positions of power or promotions. But that did leave me to get a reasonable nest egg. So
But you liked what you did, the science part?
Yeah. Well, eventually it can get dull. I mean, if you're sitting in front of a computer all day, you can go nuts. So yeah.
What are you researching? What were you doing?
I was working for Dun Bradstreet, and I was building commercial credit models for companies. You know, in the consumer world, you have Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion.
Yeah.
They build credit scores for individuals.
Right.
I was building credit scores for companies using statistics.
Credit scores for companies.
For companies.
Interesting. So not only people have credit scores, companies have them.
Oh yes, they do. So when your company, if let's say this motorcycle business was in the States, then most likely you would register with the state government.
I get 1 star.
And then we would, and as the information, well, if you had no information, you sort of get a default new business score. But as you get more information, and let's say you took out a loan with American Express or
that
with Chase,
your score.
and you didn't pay it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now your score is down the toilet.
So what was the low score and what was the high score?
Well, the scaling. I mean, the higher the score, the better. So it was different. It was scaled differently than the SAT.
So what was
FICO
what
scores.
was would they use a percentage, a number?
No. We have a raw. Well, we have 2 scores. We have a raw score. That doesn't really mean anything. I think a high score would be like 600 or so, and a low score would be 400. But we also gave our customers, the people buying our scores, a percentile.
Oh.
So 100 means you're at the top percentile.
Okay.
50 means you're in the middle. And if you got below 10 or less, you were dirt. You basically don't lend money to this company.
Were these scores based on, for people to invest in them, or based on how the liquidity of the company?
Well, it's like you had Caterpillar or John Deere, and there's a smaller company, a farm somewhere. They wanted to buy farm equipment. So they want to know whether they're going to get, and they're going to rent out or lease out the farm equipment. So they want to know the score of that farm and whether what the likelihood
the farm
of
itself.
Yeah. So the people we would score the entire U.S. Business universe.
That's a lot.
But the customers, it's a huge database. That's why you need data scientists and statistics and people that are good.
Huge. How many data scientists did they have?
It was like in the U.S. It kept growing. Again, I was at D&B for like 20 years, but I think when we started, it was like 10 million businesses, and then we went to 20, and then worldwide. Again, like for instance, Philippines, it would be pretty thin, but we have databases in England.
So they
and
not
France.
only did
it would be probably like 50 or 60 million worldwide.
So you did worldwide scores on businesses.
Right, but if we would just score a business in the Philippines, and we would sell those scores, and we shouldn't be selling those scores because it was basically dirt. We'd almost every business in the Philippines would have no information, but we would still sell it to a customer and tell them we have no information and charge them for telling them that we don't know anything.
What would be the charge for no information?
I don't know. I wasn't in sales, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was $8-9 US dollars.
Okay, so some of them are very little money.
Yeah.
But some of them...
Well, yeah, but like if you're a Caterpillar or General Motors or you're American Express, let's say you're American Express and you're giving out the corporate card, you have tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 customers. So you're buying each report. Obviously, they'll get a quantity discount. So maybe they're paying $1 instead of $8 per customer or maybe they pay a flat. Well, actually, no.
So
for big customers, we gave something called an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yeah.
So we gave them a flat rate, and they can buy as much as they want.
Oh, really? As many as they want?
Yeah, they had that all-you-could-eat buffet.
They could be thousands.
But again, it's out of my expertise because I was on the tech side, not the sales side.
But are they scoring the people for the American Express, or are you scoring American Express itself?
No. Well, American Express has to score itself too.
Wow.
Well, again, I don't work there anymore. American Express, but what they were doing is we were scoring the whole universe. But guess what? If American Express all of a sudden got a low score for some weird reason, they called up the CEO. All of a sudden, we would go in there and find out why there was a low score. If there was an error, they would get their score fixed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the same as.
American Express would get their score fixed because they were our number one customer. So if all of a sudden we gave them a bad score and their CEO called our CEO, what's going on? We said, oh, there's some report that hasn't been verified. Take it out. So that's
the same thing with Experian TransUnion. You can complain about your score, and you can fill out paperwork or prove something was paid. Or there's misinformation.
Right. If you're John Doe, they treat you one way. But if you are Elon Musk and you called up Experian and said, well, why is my score low? I think Elon Musk would get a pretty quick response.
Yeah.
So the same thing with Amex.
And how many agents did they have working on this? How many people like you were doing this?
Oh, in terms of statistics, yeah, we were about. Well, that's interesting. When I first started, there were about 20 or 30 people in the U.S. It was a pretty big department. When I left, it was about maybe 5 or 10 in the U.S.
In the U.S.
And maybe 40 or 50 people in India. Basically, when I left, I was planning to come to the Philippines last year and the year before, but 2 years ago, I told my boss I wanted to quit. And they said, no, don't quit. What do you? How about you come in part-time? I said, well, I could try that transition. So if you work 3 days a week, you still get health insurance. So I said, okay, I'll try 3 days a week. And then the year after I was going to the Philippines, I said, I told my boss, I really want to, I gave him like 3 months, I really want to leave the company and retire. I have enough money. And then like a week or 2 weeks before, I kept telling my boss, I haven't transferred any of my work to India yet. And I said, oh, don't worry about it. Then like a week before, they had a panic, and they gave me an offer that, to stay on a little longer.
They dangled that carrot.
Yeah, to transfer the work to India. And finally, I would meet with my India. So my last 3-4 months, I was just log on, wait for emails from India, answer questions. And so in the beginning, I was busy and working overtime instead of 3 days a week. Sometimes working 4 or 5 days a week. But at the end, at the last few minutes, I would just log on. Maybe there was one question from India, and then the rest of the day I had nothing to do. Because they finally figured out how to do my job.
Okay, yeah, well, that's all they really want.
Yeah, so for at least, and of course my boss wasn't sure that they knew it. He said, can you work a little longer? I said, no, I tell them, I'm doing nothing all day. India knows how to do my job. They've transferred all my programs, all my techniques, all my secret sauce and techniques, and I taught Indians.
You had a hard time quitting.
Yes,
that's funny.
Right. So yeah, that's true. And I was telling them I'm not doing anything. I'm getting paid, and and plus I got to work from home most of the time, so I'm doing nothing.
So you're trying to help them out by saving money, but
I'm lying on. I check my email at 8:00 in the morning, and I answer 1 or 2 emails in the end, and then I go onto my bed and watch YouTube for 6 hours and check if any emails are coming. But once 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning came out, India went to sleep.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah.
But anyway, I don't know if people viewing this. So let's mention Mark Thornton. When I used to watch Mark Thornton's channel, I didn't find what people did as interesting as what their impression of the Philippines was, or why they came to the Philippines. I found that more interesting. And again, I've only been in the Philippines 2 days, so I really can't talk about my impressions yet.
No, not yet. How long are you going to be here for?
Like about 3.5 weeks.
That's not long enough. You know that.
Yeah, well, I'm not coming here to. I'm coming here as a tourist, just to.
I understand, but you need about 3 months. And you need to travel a little bit between different areas.
Okay, yeah.
I assume Dumaguete is your first.
It's the first. Yeah, well, I'm hoping to find a woman to travel with.
All right.
So,
well,
yeah.
I don't think you won't have a problem finding a woman to travel with.
Okay.
The question is you need to find a woman that you're comfortable being with. Okay, but lots of them will love to travel with you, and they're very helpful here. Filipinas are. That's why they use them as nurses in all countries. Because they're very helpful. They like to help, okay? Yeah. And that's just like helping you, okay? And they all need a job, so they're happy to work with you, travel with you. So you're not going to have a problem finding someone. The only trouble you need to do is find one that's not trying to rip you off or take advantage of your situation, like to ask you for more money, a phone, money for the family.
Yeah.
And it's a job. You have to explain to them right up front, this is not a relationship, it's a job, okay? Unless you want it to be a relationship, okay? And that's best to tell them up front, too. It's okay to be upfront about it, okay? Tell them I want someone to sleep in the same room as me, in the same bed, but also travel together. So you'll be my escort and friend with benefits. I mean, it's okay to say it, okay? It's just better you say it up front, to be honest with you.
Very good.
Maybe not right in the first minute, but at least in the first meeting.
Yeah, so I've been only 2 nights now in the Philippines, and the first day I was here, I did go onto Tinder because I wanted someone local. I didn't want to match from some woman in Luzon or Mindanao or whatever, and I didn't want a younger woman. I put my lower cutoff 39, and then I didn't get enough hits. I lowered it to 35. and I didn't want any woman that's fat. So all of a sudden, you want an older woman that's thin in the Philippines, and all of a sudden, I got through the list pretty quickly. Within like a half hour, I got through all the thin older women in the Philippines.
Right.
And then I'm waiting for them to match. But after a few hours, all of a sudden they started matching me. All the ones that I liked started matching. But
They got
I decided
it,
to date the first one that matched me. The early bird catches the worm. So, and again, and this woman is 57,
Okay.
thin, attractive for her age, and is familiar with Americans because her ex-husband, not her ex, she's a widow. Her dead husband, who died at 83, was an American, and she has two half American children.
Oh, okay. Here?
Yeah, here. So,
Okay.
and again, I was dating a 50-year-old in Thailand who was on the payroll, let's say. Okay.
Okay. She was bought and paid for.
Yeah. So the Thai woman.
Well, that's normal in Thailand.
Right. So I was in party. I jumped a minute. Within like a half hour, she's touching my knee. So I mean, she's giving me the the signal. Well, this woman seems to be a real relationship woman. And it's like, what should I do? Should I touch her shoulder or whatever? So it's almost like a real date.
You have to go very slow with Filipinos. They're very shy.
Yeah, right. So I wasn't sure how I was doing. And then, we were sitting at the boulevard by the lights on the chair and talking, and I was showing them photos from my trip to Cambodia, to Angkor Wat, to my trip
Cool.
to Thailand. And then I wasn't sure how I was doing. And then she said she was getting tired. It was like 8:30, and she left. So I thought maybe I struck out. And as she was walking, she says, I'd really like to see you again and have dinner tomorrow.
There you go.
And that's when I made the move where I touched her shoulder. Wow, exciting. So, yeah.
But that's okay. You have to go slow with Filipinos.
Right, so I put her hand on her shoulder. And
They're
she's,
like
and she's-
young deer.
Right. And so she smiled, and they said, yeah. And we set up our phone numbers on WhatsApp, and then we've been texting all day today. So, and we're going to have another dinner today. So this is, and she didn't ask for any money yet, or I don't think she will, because I think she has probably a widower's pension, probably from her
Which
husband.
is very little. Oh, from the husband? Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
fine.
she has some. I don't know how much money she has from her husband.
Yeah,
but
widower's pension will be very good here. A retirement, she's not actually she is. She's 50 what?
57.
And you're what age, if I could ask?
64.
You're
Yeah, I haven't
64.
said it. I'm 64.
You don't want to look 64. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what the girl said, too, but that's what the older woman said, but I think they're just buttering me up.
Could be. I don't know.
I mean,
But I don't think you look
like
64.
you can't trust a Thai woman when they say you look good for your age, because
Well, I'm going to be hit 70. I don't feel 70. I don't look 70, but I'm going to hit 70. So
yeah,
I
so
don't
you're
know.
69?
I'm 69. I'll be 70 in June.
Okay.
Scary. So, so that's fine. It sounds like it was a good
First
meet.
date, and this seems like a real relationship. So she
Yeah.
says she's bored. She's a widow. She says she's bored at home,
So
and I'm bored here. So far, it looks like we got to start. The only issue was, I told her I wanted to go to Panglao and Sikihor, which she says she's never been to Sikihor. But then she says that the ocean gives her earaches or something. So I don't,
but she lives on islands.
Well, yeah, in the Philippines, you always live on an island, but I'm hoping we can go to the. My goal is to take a woman to Panglao and Sikihor. That's my goal.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Panglao, we'll talk about that. Panglao is very crowded and it's overrun with Koreans. I'll be honest with you
Okay.
right now. It's got a nice beach. It's a little bit crowded. It's on Bohol, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Bohol is a really wonderful island if you get out of the cities.
Mm-hmm.
There's Tagbilaran, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but it's Tagbilaran and Panglao. Those are the two big cities,
Right.
okay? Overrun, okay? Not very clean. If you leave there and go to the other side of the island, okay, and there's
Mm-hmm.
places to see. There's the big-eyed monkeys. I don't remember what they call them. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking because I watched a lot of videos.
something with the letter T.
They had the smallest primate on Bohol. I've
Yeah,
seen pictures
and
of it. I
Big
don't know what
eyes.
it's called.
Okay,
Big
it's
eyes,
kinda
and it's
cool.
a small little animal
You
with
you
big
can't
eyes.
touch them, but you can see them in the trees.
And the trivia question is, what is the smallest primate in the world? And it's that particular animal.
Yeah.
And I won't get full credit on my trivia because I forgot the name of that animal.
Yeah, I
also.
can't remember it. And then they'd have the chocolate mountains, which I found very boring. It was just a bunch of mountains that looked like breasts sitting on the ground. I don't know what the hell else to call them. And then they have a few things to see, but if you go to the other side and you go into the rural area, we went to Anda, which is, I guess you would call it. It's a. I'm trying to think. I'll think of the right name for it. But Anda is the name of the area, and it's a province. And we stayed at Poseidon Resorts. Very nice, big area, all completely fenced in with security, 24-hour security. Has a restaurant on, has a little sorry store. You may not know what that is. It's like a 7-Eleven.
Right.
And they had tables, restaurant with fans, and they outside, and then they also had hammocks, and they had swings that go over the ocean, and they had barbecues that they'll let you barbecue. And guys would come out of it was very cool. Guys that come out of the ocean and they have clams or fish or things like that, and they'd sell it to you as they're walking to go to the market. They'd walk by the back, which is right up against the beach, and you have mountains and hills that you can look down, crashing waves, or you have beaches, nice beaches on right and left of it. And they had pool tables, tennis court, basketball court. There was a lot of things there, outdoor bathrooms, and they'd have events and stuff. I really like Poseidon, so you can check out Poseidon Resorts. Very inexpensive.
And that's in Panglao.
It's in the island of Bohol.
Oh, Bohol, outside.
Panglao is the name of a city.
Right, that's where all the resorts are.
They're overrun.
Okay.
They're overpriced and overrun.
Yeah, well, that reminds me of Phuket, which I had a terrible time. But
Phuket?
Digressing, yeah, because I know Paul McGill mentioned he lived in Phuket for a year. I went there for only 4 nights, and including
We're talking about Thailand right now, guys.
Yeah,
we're
Phuket,
moving around
Thailand.
fast.
Yeah, so I had a miserable time, but I'm digressing. But I guess the question that Goldfinger should ask me is, why did I come to the Philippines?
Well, no, I mean, you could just tell me. I don't need to ask the question.
Well, yeah. So I went to Thailand first because, let me even digress even before. So I'm 64. I've been married to a Taiwan woman from Taiwan, not Thailand, Taiwan,
very good.
for over 30 years. We got a divorce. It was my idea, not hers. And she did everything she could to slow the process down. So that's another reason why I couldn't go last year. As I wanted to go in season because I wanted to miss the New York winter. And so even last year, we still haven't, even though we had a divorce decree from the judge.
Why you divorced?
I probably got like 10 reasons. But one reason is, well, this is the story. One of the reasons that nailed it, I already wanted a divorce, but this was and actually Paul McGill and Mark Thornton actually gave me the courage to go ahead and get the divorce from their videos about life. But anyway, one day I was at the gym, and there's a regular pool and there's a whirlpool.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the whirlpool, and then there's this other guy that's like spitting or something into the whirlpool. I was like, whoa, that's weird. All of a sudden I said, I wasn't spitting, he's sort of like foaming at the mouth. And he falls into the water. And, I'm a statistician. They don't have excitement. And I grab this guy up, and he's bigger than me. So he's like, I'm a small guy. I start screaming, help, help, help. And the lifeguards start running because I screamed really loud. And all of a sudden, within 30 seconds, which seemed like 2 hours, I was holding this guy up with my little weak arms, my little tiny arms. And the lifeguards come in there, and they asked me, how long was he on the water? I said, 1 second or something, because I noticed he was looking weird. I started looking at him, because I realized he wasn't spitting, he was foaming. I should have been preemptive and said, are you okay? But for like 2 minutes, I was just staring at him, and I didn't say, how are you doing? So it wasn't
Your mind was...
I wasn't 100% perfect in terms of being a good guy, but I was watching him very closely. So as soon as he hit the water, I picked him up. Anyway, so I text my kids. And the family, the group chat. Oh, I just saved the man's life. I go, what happened, Dad? What happened? Well, and I explained it. I get nothing from my wife or my ex-wife. No response. And I said, and then they took it. And I said, let's listen to the David Bowie song about being a hero. Everyone could be a hero for just one day. And nothing from my wife. And she didn't care. So then I say, well, the marriage is over. I mean, basically, we were sleeping in separate bedrooms. Half the time she took, I chewed too loud, so she would take the food to another room. So basically...
You chew too loud.
Yeah, well, I chew too... They got to be that relationship like that. And so...
How many years were you married?
30 years. So basically, she used to have me to take care of like the taxes and the paperwork, and take care. My English was much better than her English. She was Chinese, Taiwanese Chinese.
Yeah.
And she was also a hoarder, which is bad enough. I couldn't get anywhere in the house.
Really? That bad?
Yeah. Every day she would buy something on clearance. So she had... And she has clothes she's never worn with still a sticker on. But if she saw something on clearance, she would buy it.
Was she like this when you first married her?
No, but it got worse and worse. I mean, actually, I never got to see the inside of her room, her home, after I got married, and it was a mess.
You never got to see the inside.
Yes, we always.
For how many years?
No, well, we were dating for a year.
Okay.
And she never invited me to her apartment. She'd always just come to our room.
She didn't want you to see.
She would come to our room to boom, and they said, "Wow, there's a lot." She was living in a little tiny studio, but it was filled with capacity. But eventually, I made a good living, and we bought a big house. And for a while,
she filled that up.
For the big house, it takes years to fill that up because we have a basement, so and an extra bedroom. So we fill up the guest bedroom and the basement. Eventually, you got to capacity, and it starts overflowing to the windows. And I have to move. If I want to open the window, I have to move something.
So it became a marriage of convenience versus a marriage of true love.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But even though it was a terrible marriage for many years, and it was a sexless marriage for decades.
It's convenience. Yeah.
My daughters are really pissed at me, both of them, for initiating. I'm the bad guy. I'm initiating the divorce. I'm the one who moved out, bought a house on the Jersey Shore, 70 miles from where they live. And it's all my fault for breaking up the family. And, you know,
What age are they when they thought that?
Well, I'm only been divorced for a year now.
Okay, so what age
so
are they?
so my daughters are 32 and 29 now. Today, they're 32.
Well,
and
they're
so-
old enough to realize, because that sounds like something a teenager would think. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess, you know, I heard a psychologist say that even with adult children, sometimes they're very upset with divorce. And sometimes that's harder than with preschoolers.
So they sided with mom. Now you have 2 girls?
You have 2 girls.
Oh.
And they sided with mom because mom didn't want the divorce. She was saying, you know, my husband is, her word was I was abandoning her. Even though, and at the divorce.
But I bet that before that, I
And
bet you
at the-
tried to change things. I'm assuming
No,
you tried to change.
well, yeah, like 20 years before I went
Yeah.
to marriage counseling, but
But
then
it wasn't happening.
The last 5 years, it would
was getting worse.
When I told my friend, well, I didn't have a lot of friends, but I told them 1 or 2 friends I had, why don't you try counseling? So we did that 20 years ago. We're way past.
Past that point.
You know, when she says I chew too loud, and she doesn't respond when I save a man's life, and I'm not a lifeguard or a
I get
policeman.
annoyed by that too. I think. I think anybody would.
Yeah. I actually put that in Quora.
Did you have your mouth open or you just?
No, whatever. No. I put that story in Quora
I'm
about saving.
I'm not trying to make light of it. I
You know,
understand.
there's Quora where you have questions about how do you know your marriage is over. So I put that one in there about
do
saving
you
a
know?
man's life and getting no response, and it got like thousands of likes. And
Really?
lots of response. People really related to that one.
No, I could relate to it.
It's like you save
it's
someone.
nitpicking.
You're an accountant or a data scientist or an office drone, and you live a mundane life, and all of a sudden one day you save someone's life. That's a red letter day for you. You're not going to forget
It's a
that day.
good day. You should be celebrating and
Yeah, and then nothing for my wife.
That's too bad. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, but not only that, but we would text. Me and my daughter were texting for the entire day. The rest of it, like,
It could
let's
be
listen-
worse.
I'm listening to the David Bowie
tell you.
song. We can all be heroes
You,
for just
you
one
may
day.
not know my story. I don't know if you said you couldn't find my channel. If you had, you would have watched one of the videos I did about my wife of 28 years of marriage, and she tried to kill me.
Oh,
so
that's
so
pretty
it could
bad.
get worse. Okay.
Yeah. I've seen some real horror stories on these.
She literally went to prison.
I think
for
what
it.
was that guy? I told some really bad story. He lives in Dumaguete. He had a heart attack and a stroke and a stroke and a heart attack. Now he has cancer or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Paul's friend, Paul McGill's close
Yes,
friend,
yes,
Malcolm,
yes,
not
yes,
Malcolm,
yes.
Miles,
Yeah.
something. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
He told some good stories about his ex-wife that were like saying, "Well, my ex-wife isn't that bad. She's just using me as her office boy and assistant, whatever,
Yeah.
taking care of the paperwork."
It could get worse.
Where she doesn't use her English. So yeah, a lot worse things than that.
Getting
but-
back to the dating, I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention. So dating here is not like America, and a lot of people that watch this aren't from America. So in America, it's very forward, okay, and dating is very difficult now in America, if impossible, okay.
Yeah, I haven't even tried dating in
It's
America yet.
very difficult in the U.S. now. Women are very liberal, they feel equal to or superior to men. They don't. They're very untrusting. It's just very difficult now in the U.S. But when there was dating back in the day, and you're almost my age, so say 40 years ago, okay? For me, it would be 50 years ago. Women were very sweet, kind, and appreciative of you taking them out, picking them up, paying for dinner, things like that. You'd open the door for the girls. You can't do that anymore now in America. It's different. It's a different world now. It's a different
Maybe
time.
60 years ago. We're talking about the 1950s and 60s, but I think by the 1980s, by the time I was a college
I
student
said
and dating,
40, 50 years ago. I mean,
yeah, by the 1980s, it was not that much different than it is today.
I know, and it got worse.
Yeah.
It got worse. Okay, so, but here, it's like walking back in time. So, if you open a door for a lady or let her sit first or ask her, if you ask her where she wants to go, she's just going to say wherever you want, okay?
You mean in the
They won't-
Philippines?
In the Philippines.
Yeah.
She won't make a decision, okay? She lets you make the decisions. A man is a man. He's the head of the house. She will protect you, take care of you if you're sick. It's like walking back in time here, okay? If you buy her a little gift, not an expense, they don't expect an expensive gift. If you buy them just a little fuzzy stuffed animal, just as when you first go see her, you bought her a little gift, a flower or anything, it's a big thing, It's a big thing for them. Okay, if you did that in America, they'd laugh in your face. Okay, throw it at you.
That's true.
That's horrible. Okay, but that's what's happened.
Even in Thailand, where I was pay for play,
Thailand's different.
even when I was a pay for play situation, but I was dating an older woman, a very, very attractive 58-year-old.
Yeah.
I can show Goldfinger later the photo of her. A very attractive 58-year-old. Still couldn't wear a bathing suit.
Yeah.
So,
no, I had a 50-year-old woman. She was in very good shape, and she looked great in a bathing
But
suit.
yeah, I would buy her little gifts and stuff, and she would all big
But they're
hug,
bought
big,
and paid for.
right.
So they
And-
expect something every month.
Right.
And when you stop paying, they're gone.
Right. But she was cheaper, much
is Thailand.
cheaper in Thailand, much cheaper than I would date any American. She,
Well,
matter of fact, we never discussed the price on the first date.
It's cheaper
It was
to
the next-
pay for love, but it's not love.
Actually, yeah, she never actually quoted me a price. I just gave her a tip, and she was okay with it.
How much bought a month?
Well, I was paying her daily.
Oh, that's unusual. How much bought a day?
I don't know. I feel like because I'm privileged, that I was being a cheap Charlie with how little I was giving her.
What's the number?
I was giving her 1,000 baht a day.
Well, that's a lot.
I thought that was too little.
No, it's 30,000 baht a month.
But anyway, I was giving her
That's a
1,000
lot,
baht a
dude.
day. So that's $30
Michael,
US.
that's a lot.
$30 US. Well, if you compare it to like Bangkok, if you go down Nana Plaza, that road.
Oh, that's a lot of money for a woman in Thailand. I'm just telling you, it's twice, more than twice, maybe even 3 times.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you go down Nana Plaza, around
Yeah,
where
I've
they have
been
a lot
there.
of street workers,
Uh-huh.
I was asking the street workers how much for a long time. They all said 4,000 baht. And then you can bargain them down maybe to 3,000 baht.
But did you ask them if that's per day?
Well, no, I asked them what would long time be.
Yeah, did you ask them was that 4,000 per day or per week or per month?
Well, no, that was for a long time, for one night.
No.
Yeah, that's if you go down like Soy 4 and where Nana Plaza, and you look at talking to the street workers, they all quoted me 4,000. One even quoted me 5,000 baht. And
That's
I
a
think-
one-night price.
Yeah, one night price exactly. So I figured
That's a
1,000.
one-night price. That's
Yeah.
not a long-term
But
price.
of course, those women were younger, so this is an older
Well,
woman.
yeah,
so-
and you pay more for in Thailand, mind you.
Yeah, you'll
you pay more for a
younger.
younger than you are for an older. Okay.
Right.
I was very good to the lady I dated. I liked her a lot, but I realized that she's not in love with me. I mean, we talk about marriage and stuff like that. I would have married her, but I could tell in her actions over a period of a month or two that she's not going to marry me. She has bills and she has a life and she has a daughter. I had the daughter join us on some trips. I paid for everything, but I was expected to.
Right. Yeah. Well, I also noticed that she wasn't in love with me. The first week I was with her, I got the TLC big time.
Oh,
She would
yeah.
fill up the bathtub. She would rub my
Oh,
shoulders.
she'll give you a bath, yeah.
Yeah, and then I went to Cambodia to see Angkor Wat, and then I went to Phuket and had a terrible time at Phuket. And I texted her. I had line. And I'm coming back to jumped in Pattaya. And then the second week it was like, she was still very nice and sweet, but the TLC wasn't there. And during the day, she said she had to meet her friends. So I wasn't getting the 24-hour treatment. She said, "Oh, are we doing anything today?"
Were you still paying her $1,000 a day?
Yes.
Wow. Well,
Okay.
she found you.
Yeah, okay.
You big lollipop sucker.
I thought I was
Okay.
underpaying her, but whatever, because,
No, you weren't. If
But
you had talked to other...
We'll see what the comments say. I would say some of them are going to agree with Goldfinger, and then some of them are going to agree with me. Because, again,
And this was what year? How long ago?
this was like last week.
Oh, well, I haven't been there in 3 years, but I doubt if it's gone up that much.
Yeah, I'm talking about last week. I
Maybe 4
just
years.
came from Thailand.
All right.
And so the reason why I came to the Philippines, and I wanted to go to Thailand before the Philippines,
Right, we
because
were going to go there.
because I've been to Thailand 39 years ago. So I think I have the record for the greatest interval between first and second trip. And there are some video channels where you tell your Thai stories too.
Right.
I'm going to write it up, but I don't think anyone has a 39-year gap between the first time they've been to Thailand and the second time. And so that's a different story for a different channel. How I saw the differences, because this is really a Philippines channel. But again, I stayed at one hotel, Malaysia Hotel, which is famous for GIs back in the 60s and
Okay.
70s. It's been in business for 59 years. So I went there the first time, and the place, the pool, and the coffee, and the 24-hour restaurant were full of hostess girls or tour guides for hire, basically prostitutes. Yeah, but
So
when
it's
I went
known
there,
for that because it's
when
been
I was
around
there,
so
yeah,
long,
when I was there in '87, and I went back there, and I came there late at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm at the coffee shop, and it's full of Thai people, and the food is really authentic, too spicy for me to eat.
Yes.
I'm looking around for like any tour guides. I didn't see any. And then the next morning I come in there, and there are a lot of like older guys. Okay, then all of a sudden, this looks like a senior house. Every guy there looks like they're over 80 and they have a nurse. And then
It's a geriatric restaurant.
Yeah, all of a sudden the hotel became a geriatric hotel. They're full of older guys that are 80 with nurse. And they look like they're waiting for,
They're all with walkers and canes and wheelchairs.
Yeah, that's how it changed. It used to
And
be when I was
they're bald.
That's how it evolved. And no, but then a lot of them also, they were a little bit younger, they were in their 50s and 60s, they were all gay.
Really?
It turned into a gay hotel. And
Oh my God.
There was a gay guy that wearing and he was old. He had a sagging ass, and he was a gay guy. He was wearing this most bikini with his ass sticking out. It's like, oh.
Oh, I love it.
But I did ask one of these gay guys, I said, he said this, I told him I was a 39-year interval, and he told me 10 years ago is when they kicked out the prostitutes out of the hotel. I said, oh, damn, I go.
That's too bad.
That's what I was saying. And then he was telling me again, the gay guy, he was telling me, well, everyone was gay, that if I walked down a certain street, there might be some prostitutes. But I walked there.
Now, Thailand has a lot of lady boys.
Right. No, so I was walking there at night, at 9 o'clock. I couldn't find any in that particular neighborhood with a Malaysia hotel, which has, again, been in business for 58 years.
Wow, yeah.
It changed, but it's changed. The rest, and the hotel looked exactly the same.
Really?
Some of the stuff hasn't been moved in 58 years. But the vibe.
The vibe is different. Yeah.
180, clearly different vibe.
Yeah.
It's a senior home.
Well, they might have different owner, or they just, they
maybe not. It might be the same. But now it's a senior home and a gay hangout.
Senior home for the aged.
And a gay guy and a gay hangout. So there were a lot of straight guys that were like 80.
Oh, yeah, I guess you got out of there as fast as you could.
No, I had a terrible. Oh, here, let me start from the beginning. Well, I really want to say why I came to the Philippines, and why I came to the Philippines was, or why I took this trip is, I wanted to see Thailand again. Then I wanted to go to the Philippines, and I wanted to see these vloggers. And I'm here today with Goldfinger because I couldn't get a connection with Paul McGill, so I compromised. And then
What do you mean you compromise? Wait a minute, stop. What do you mean you compromise?
I wanted to see how.
Stop. Okay, we're off the air now. That's the end of this video.
Yeah, I want to see what kind of how uptight he is. But yeah, Goldfinger's not Mark Thornton. He's a lot looser.
Oh, that's
so we'll see what happens.
You
there.
compromised. Oh my God. I'll never live that one
Be
down.
honest, you're not. I'm
gonna get a lot of flack on that.
You're not as popular as Paul McGill.
I know.
No one is.
That's okay.
Even
Actually.
Maybe the
Rick Hay has been around longer.
Yeah, but if you look at his views now,
because he's not as active.
Yeah, you look at his views as way down. So I would think that Paul is still the most popular.
Have you watched?
If you exclude the Filipino piece, I would think Paul is the most popular.
Very popular.
Yeah, though actually her channel has gone downhill the last few months.
She has hundreds of thousands of viewers.
Right, but her videos haven't been that good lately. And I think she's in America and calling it in.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't. I mean, she's great.
Yeah,
you have no idea how much money she must be making.
Yeah,
okay,
I actually think she might actually have an American husband now and living in America.
Well, she had an American boyfriend. I don't know if she married him, and he was doing a lot of the. He was being the what's the right word I'm trying to do? He did the lines for her. He also they do a lot of takes because I've watched some of their videos when they actually are recording. They retake things. He does the lines for her, so he's a director and a producer. And he would guide her because there was a lot. She'll say a lot of American things, terms, okay, like the Flintstones. Like, how would she know who the Flintstones?
Oh, I thought
or
John Wayne. I just thought she had a PhD in American sociology.
No.
Oh, she fooled me.
I know. She's very good because they take multiple takes of the same line and say, no, you got to say it this way.
But I say, if you watch her videos for the last few months, she hasn't. But
she's good.
There are no scenes where she's in the Philippines. She's always good with the green screen.
She did good.
People are being interviewed, but they don't show who's interviewing these people. So she's in America.
Plus, she's good. It doesn't hurt that she's good looking as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially, and she looks great for someone in her 30s.
Yeah.
And again, her English is the perfect American idiom English.
Yeah, I don't know why she's staying in America.
I always think that she's got a husband or a fiance.
I think she's trying to build up her American audience. But she did very well here, so I don't know why she went there. But I'm sure she did.
I'm sure it's for a man.
No, she already had American boy. She's
but maybe she wants to.
He's very much involved.
Maybe she wants to marry him and live in America.
Marry him here, but okay.
Maybe she wants to live in America.
Maybe she has a sufficient amount of money.
Yeah.
So you have no idea how much money.
But anyway, So I had this. So goes back. So I wanted to take this trip for years. I wanted to go to Thailand first. Because of the I wanted to fill the sexual part right away. And I wanted to go back to the Malaysia hotel that's been in business and see what it was like after 39 years. And then I wanted to come to the Philippines for two reasons: to meet the vloggers and to see. I heard contradictory things about dating in the Philippines. Some people say, oh, it's like shooting fish in a in a bucket or a
Barrel.
Barrel. Yeah, it's that easy. Other people, and especially like Paul, I think is one of them, and
Okay.
other people say it's not as easy as it looks.
Okay, shooting fish in a barrel, to me, and it might just be me, to me, it's like wanting to have a good time with different girls, multiple girls, okay, but not looking for someone long term. That's what it kind of means to me. Okay, the term
Well, no.
shooting fish.
So to me, what it means is like if you come to the Philippines
There's
at the
lots
airport.
of females here.
No, the way I got the term shooting fish is if you came to the Philippines, and let's say you're pretty much a big loser back home, not good looking at all, not
No.
much money, and you came to the airport and they asked the immigration officer asks you, do you have a girlfriend? And if you say no, they assign you one at the airport.
Yeah. Well, no. So basically, there are lots of Filipino women, and they're brought up. To be honest, they're brought up as child to find a foreigner, because there is no future for them if they don't find a foreigner, and they know foreigners have more financial income. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't love you. Okay, they'll love you. Okay, you have to think about what love is. Love is not just money. There's more than that. Love is being treated with respect. Love is, there's religious. There's a lot of things involved. Okay, it's not just a feeling, or it's not just financial. A lot of misconception is that the only reason the Filipinos, the younger Filipinos or whatever, go for foreigners is because of the dollar. Well, the dollar gives them security, and that's something that they lack here. So it's more. It's not just the money. It's what the money could do for them and their family. It's security, because they're very family oriented here, and they want to take care of their family. So they don't have a whole lot of opportunity, especially girls here. They're suppressed for moving up the ladder, unless they go and become a doctor. They management positions typically go to the males,
Right.
who are not as smart as the females. Believe it or not, they're just not. And if you go to colleges, and if they can afford to go to college, which most Filipinos cannot afford, the family cannot afford to send them to college. It's very expensive for them to send them to Sullivan here or one of the other ones. They're barely putting rice on the table. They can't afford college. So where do they go? Well, they're embarrassingly, they go to Cebu or Angeles City, and I'm not saying all, but this is where they go. They can get a job just by being pretty. They're dancing at a club. And in that arena, they end up getting money, I'm going to say it, for sex, okay? So, and they find that they can make more money smiling at men and going and kissing them and holding their hands. It means more income. And where does that income go? To the family, back to the family, so they could take care of their brothers and sisters. It's an awful shame. Okay, they're that depressed. If they go to college and you get a college education, the best they could hope for is to be a cashier.
Right, I've heard that from
It's
a
horrible.
lot of vloggers. Yeah,
It's ridiculous. Okay, so instead of cleaning bathrooms and instead of stocking shelves, they could be a cashier. Be a manager of a restaurant? Doubtful. Very, very, very doubtful, unless they had a doctorate and came from the States and had had more than one language, not just English, not just Tagalog or Cebulan or Visayan, but they'd have to have like another language where they're working at a hospital. Hospital or a hotel situation.
Right.
Otherwise, they're doing the linen.
Right, they need to know English very well.
So most of them just have menial jobs. They get paid very little money, and they're just doing the laundry, the linen, cleaning the bedroom. But in order to work behind the counter, you need a college education and degree. Believe it or not.
Right. That's what the Filipino piece says.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a shame. It is true.
Yeah.
It's not right, but that's the way it is here.
Okay, so I came to the Philippines to again for two reasons: to meet people like Goldfinger, and
Now you met me. Now you can leave.
and to see what the dating situation is. Again, I've only been here 2 days, so maybe I'll come back to Goldfinger before I leave, and I can tell them what it is and
Oh, yeah, come back here
and
before
how
you
it
leave.
compares to Thailand. And again, Paul McGill said that he likes jokes, so I have a couple of jokes that I think are really good.
See, Paul, you missed out. See,
Well,
you wanted
well-
to meet with both of us, Paul.
Well-
okay, give your jokes to Paul. Let's
Look,
see
here's
if
the
Paul
jokes of
listens
both.
to this.
I was talking to tell both. Okay, so both me, Goldfinger, and Paul, we're fathers. You said you have daughters or sons, Goldfinger?
I have 2 sons.
Okay, I have 2 daughters. I know Paul McGill has 3 sons.
Yes.
So I have 2 daughters, but that doesn't matter. So anyway, here's the joke. 4 older guys about our age in their 60s are driving down the New Jersey Turnpike. And it could be you pick any highway that's near where you are. They
Right.
drive down to the Jersey Turnpike, and one of them has to go to the bathroom. So they pull over to the rest stop, and they go to the rest stop, and the one guy goes to the bathroom, and the other three guys, they go to the McDonald's, and they get some coffee and nuggets or whatever, and they're talking. And one guy goes to the other guy, he goes, how's your son doing? And the guy goes, my son graduated Harvard Medical School, and he's now the youngest head of neurosurgery at Mount Sinai in New York. And I have an excellent relationship with my son. My son bought me a custom-made purple Bentley. I said, wow. Another guy goes, well, how's your son? The guy goes, my son could have gone to Harvard Medical School, but he chose Harvard Business School. And now he has a hedge fund, and he's the youngest hedge fund manager that has over $1 billion in assets under management. And again, I have an excellent relationship with my son. My son bought me a Learjet, custom made in my favorite color, yellow. And then then they look at the third guy and they go, and they hinge a little bit, and he says, we know there was some friction between you and your son. He goes, oh, no. Me and my son are doing really good, the third guy says. I know my son didn't go to Harvard, he went to MIT, and as you know, he dropped out as a freshman. But he started his own company, and he has this new protocol where all the data on the internet has to go through his protocol. And his company went public last week, and it quadrupled in price, the stock, in one day. And now me and my son, we've grown closer together, and my son bought me a castle in Germany. I go, wow. Finally, the last guy comes out of the bathroom, and he goes, what are you guys talking about? Oh, we're talking about our sons. He goes, and one of them goes, oh, how's your son doing? Well, the guy goes, well, my son is a stripper at a gay club. And the other three guys go like, oh my God. And they go, and one of them says, they get real silent for a moment, and one of them has the courage, goes like, that must be so disappointing. And the guy goes, oh no, absolutely not. I'm really proud of my son. He has one customer gave him a purple Bentley, a second customer gave him a yellow Learjet, and he has a third customer gave him a castle in Germany.
Oh my God!
And actually, that joke actually hits home because that actually happened to me.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, I was talking to my wife, and I have two daughters, and one's a musician, one's an artist. So basically, they're on the payroll, and they need help with their rent in New York. So they're not buying me any cars or jets.
No, they have their own expenses.
But one time, my wife, before the divorce, she said, our friend so and so, yeah, they have their daughter got a job at Google, and they bought their parents a Lexus. I go, well. Big deal, I go.
Yeah.
So when I heard that joke, I said, wow, that actually hit home.
Yeah.
I have a second joke.
Here we go.
And this one is, again, related to the Philippines.
Okay.
Okay, so you have this acidic man in Brooklyn. Again, I'm Jewish, so it's okay to tell the joke.
Believe it or not, I'm Jewish too.
Yeah, I know that.
But I eat pork.
Yeah, so do I. But anyway, so this 80-year-old Hasidic Jew is a widow in Brooklyn. He's lonely. So he gets onto these Philippine dating sites. And he starts communicating, and he comes to the Philippines, and he meets and again, this is an 80-year-old guy, and he's a big guy, a little overweight, looks like an 80-year-old, and he meets a 20-year-old Filipina, and he gets engaged, he gets the K1, he goes back to Brooklyn with her, and he wants a religious wedding. It's important for him to have a religious wedding. And there's no problem with the conversion. She agrees to become Jewish, the girl. But he goes to one rabbi after another, and each rabbi looks at the petite 20-year-old girl and the large 80-year-old man. Each rabbi goes like, can't do it. The congregation won't approve. And he goes to another one, and finally he goes to one rabbi, and he starts crying, the guy. The 80-year-old man cries. He goes, I really want to have a religious wedding. And one rabbi after another keeps turning it down. And the rabbi goes like, I can't marry you either. But I do know of this younger rabbi who just graduated rabbinical school who's causing a lot of turmoil in the congregation with his very liberal views. So and he gives them the phone number of this younger rabbi. So they go to visit this young rabbi. And he looks like Josh Groban. I don't know if you know who that is, a singer. He's a handsome guy. He has a very tight beard, not a long beard, and it's all brown, no gray. He's a good-looking guy, good-looking rabbi, good-looking Jewish guy. And the 80-year-old guy starts crying, he tells him the story, and the young 20-year-old rabbi's only in his 20s, goes like, quotes from the Talmud about the wisdom of age, and then he quotes another passage from the Talmud, that only true marriage is the root of all happiness, a bonding of man and woman. And he said, I can marry you. And the 80-year-old guy goes, starts crying even more. He says, thank you. He said, but only on one condition. And the condition is, because of your huge age gap, it wouldn't be fair for you just to marry her without getting a roommate. So you need to have a roommate and to take care of some of those marital duties, and then I can marry you. Again, this is a very
pretty
progressive,
liberal.
pretty progressive rabbi.
Yeah.
So he married, and the guy goes, oh, absolutely, no problem. And so a few months later, guys in the
I
synagogue.
already know he got a girl.
He got the synagogue, and the guy asked, "How's your marriage?" He goes, "My wife is pregnant." I go, "Oh, great." The rabbi says, "I see you took my advice and got a roommate." And he says, "And the 80-year-old guy,
pregnant too.
And she's pregnant too."
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. I was ahead of you.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the joke, but I knew where this is going when you said
so that's a pretty good punchline. Yeah. So she's pregnant.
I'm sorry,
too.
I didn't mean to ruin your punchline, but I was kind of ahead of you. I kind of figured that's where it's going.
I mean, it could work with other religions. I guess Baptists or with a conservative. But anyway, it seems to fit Jewish because there's always some progressive rabbi somewhere.
Why did you only come here for 3 weeks? You have the time, right? You're retired. You have an income.
Yeah, actually, some people come to my house, come here so long because again, I was 4 weeks in Thailand, so basically.
Oh, so you haven't been back from Thailand yet?
Yeah, no, I went from Thailand.
How long
to
were
the
you in
Philippines.
Thailand again?
4 weeks.
Okay.
And the first few days there, I was sick because I had the worst trip ever coming here, or coming to Thailand. Let me just talk about that terrible trip. Okay, I flew United to Tokyo, no problem there, and then I got this flea bag discount airline called Tokyo something or other, Transstar, and it's a weird part of the Narita airport. You have to take like 2 buses to get to it, and there's no gauge. You have to go up a stair, whatever, and it's like 30 degrees out in Tokyo. I had no jacket, but anyway, we get on this plane, and every seat is taken with Filipinos. It looks like a bus as opposed to a plane, and there's a lot of like turbulence as we were leaving, and in the same row as me over on the side, there's a 2-year-old coughing like there's no tomorrow.
Okay.
Coughing.
Sick.
And then it only gets worse because they all of a sudden.
How can it get worse?
It gets worse. All of a sudden, the Japanese pilot, in very poor English, with very thick Japanese accent, says there's a very, very minor problem with the plane, and we have to turn around.
Oh, shit.
But not to worry. The problem is very, very minor. So we turn around, but he said, I have to turn around and we have to circle the airport for a while.
You think he would tell you if it was major?
Yeah,
Okay,
you have to circle the airport and we have to drop gasoline into the ocean.
Oh, no, that's not minor anymore.
And then as we're landing, you can smell the fumes from the engine coming into the cockpit, into the cabin.
Oh, that'll make you sick.
So, my palms are sweating.
That'll make you nauseous.
Because he says for a third time that we have a very minor problem.
Yeah, after the first time you got me.
Yeah, so I'm sweating. And my palms are
Start
sweating.
Start recording because this might be your last.
Yeah, so I land, and everyone claps when we land.
Thank God, yeah.
But that's not but then we get to Tokyo, and back, I'm not in Manila, I'm in Tokyo, and it's like 2 a.m., and you have all these Japanese women from the airline, from this Fleabag airline, trying to book us hotels with their limited English. And I get to one of them, and I say, I need a hotel. She books it up there, and she says, stand over there. So I stand over there, and then all of a sudden I'm not paying attention. And the group I'm with just leaves without me. And so all of a sudden, again, I have no hotel. And again, there's a few Japanese ladies still left. I say, my group, they left without me. I still don't have a hotel. So another Japanese woman with limited English books me another hotel. And she tells me to go outside and go to Terminal 2 to get the bus to this thing. So it's 30 degrees out. I didn't bring any coats because I was going to Thailand. So it's 30 degrees outside or 0 Celsius or -1. And I'm walking for like a half an hour in brutal cold looking for this bus to the Japanese airline. At least they're paying for the airplane. But I'm losing my reservation in the Philippines. I had an airport reservation. I was going to fly from Manila to Bangkok the next day because I had a round trip from Manila. Anyway, so by the time I got to Thailand, first day I look at the hotel and I'm looking at first time I'm okay and I eat there. But by the time I woke up the next morning, I'm hacking a cough and I'm running about a fever. I'm asking, where do I get a thermometer? So the first 2 days, I turned off the air conditioner. I brought pajamas with me. I'm wearing pajamas. It must be like 80 degrees in there.
You're sweating it out.
I'm shivering.
Oh, yeah.
I have it under the blanket. I'm shivering for like 2 days. And finally I start to feel better. I go to like this place to get some soup.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the soup. I'm the only customer in there. And then the next day I have Crohn's disease. The next day, I all of a sudden I'm on the toilet every 10 minutes. So all of a sudden the fever dropped. So the first 4 days at the Malaysia hotel, I was basically in my room. So I extended another 3 days, and I was just staying by the pool and just eating white rice and staying by the pool and watching all the. And that's why I saw all these people at the pool at the Malaysia hotel. There's some Asian tourists, but basically there's these 80-year-old guys with nurses, and there's these older gay guys about my age. Sitting in these awful bikini bathing suits that are like vile for some. Maybe if they were 20, it might be okay, but they're like 60, and
they're mini bikini.
Their sagging asses are sticking out of these like
Now this is in Thailand, right?
This is in Thailand. The first, because I wanted to see what this hotel was like, because that hotel was an eye-opening experience when I first went to Thailand in my 20s. It was like I was a math nerd.
Yeah.
I just graduated college, and I went there, and basically a girl raped me pretty much. You know, I met a girl at a hotel, in the coffee shop, and there was 3 of them. This is back in '87. There was like 3 of them, and they came in. Do you want to join us for dinner? I said, yeah. And then they asked, can you buy our dinner? And it's a cheap restaurant, so I did. And the 3 of them, and one of them was like, all of them were feeding me, force feeding me. So
Force feeding you.
And one of them was much more aggressive than the others in terms of her hands being all over me and kissing me and trying to do a tonsil examination with her tongue. And anyway, so we went up to the room, and basically she just threw me on the bed. And she was older. She was like 40, even though she said she was 30, but she was obviously 40. And I was in my 20s. And, you know, she just, you know, went right to business as soon as we got there. He was like, she didn't play the opposite of hard to get, you know. She was on top of me.
Opposite of hard to get. She was aggressive.
Yeah, she was on top of me, you know, immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was quite an eye-opening experience. I wanted to see what it was like. And now, again, the vibe is not like that. Back then in '87, it was a mix of different ages. There were some young guys, some older guys.
Well, I had similar. I'm not going to give my stories because I've given it before. It's not about me. It's about you. But I had a very similar situation. I had a girl that came to my hotel room. I don't know how she found me. And I'm not going to give the whole story, but I signed up for, that was here actually, not in Thailand. It was here. When I first landed here, and I had a one night in Cebu before I got here. And everybody said, wait till your feet are on the ground, boots on the ground before you go on a dating site. So I went on Filipino Cupid. And I said, I just arrived, blah, blah, blah. I'm on Mactan. And go to mommy. Go on. Eyesight. Go to mommy. Go on. Good boy.
Oh, you're not recording anymore?
Yes, I'm recording.
Okay. Yeah, we're just talking about nonsense.
That's okay, dear.
We're talking nonsense anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we just talk sex talk.
Yeah, right. Shh, don't tell her. She'll watch my videos. So, anyway, so she found me out and she attacked me. Okay, and then, but
She was very aggressive sexually. You mean? Yeah.
it was all about she needed a pair of tennis shoes that were like 5,000 pesos. I had no idea what a peso. I didn't understand the exchange. I was lost. Okay, because every country's, you know, like when I went to Vietnam, all their money looks the same, and the only difference is zeros. Okay, a 1,000 looks like a 10,000, looks like 100,000, looks like a million. Okay, the difference is how many zeros it has. They don't use commas. It's just weird, and they have different size paper, different colors. It's very confusing when you go from one country to another. To figure out the exchange rate, okay? Because obviously Vietnam, you know, they're working with the dong. Thailand's working with the baht. Philippines is peso, but so is Mexico, and they're different pesos. I mean, it's confusing. It really is. For me, maybe for you it's better because you know math really well, but I know math pretty well too, but it's just confusing.
No, even for me, I have to take out the calculator, and sometimes I'm overpaying.
It's crazy.
Sure,
you know, when you go from country to country, you need all this different money, and it's different colors and different amounts, different names, and you sit there like you feel stupid because you want to pay for something, but you can't figure out what the hell they want. You know, when they hold up finger of 3, is that 3,000, 300,000? Because Vietnam, have you been to Vietnam?
No, I haven't.
Well, you got to go. Cheap,
really?
Ridiculously.
Wow.
Do you think the Philippines is cheap? Forget about it. Half the price of the Philippines.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I heard that the dating there is much worse than the Philippines.
It's not the same.
Much worse. I heard.
There's no dating there. It's going to be very difficult because they don't speak English at all.
Yeah, that's what I heard by multiple vloggers.
They're very difficult because of the language barrier. Also, you're not going to get. I mean, if you're after a younger girl, you're not going to get a younger girl in the Philippines, and the only way you're going to get a younger girl in Thailand is if you pay more money.
Right.
So, and that's not going to be long-term relationships. So, every country is a little bit different on the way. You know, America. Carolyn's only 34 years old, and she's my wife. If she was in America, people would go, you know, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, in America, men will be hitting on her. Yeah, saying.
Well, they hit on her now constantly. She puts her video, and I say hands off, guys. You can look but can't touch.
Yeah.
Okay, but she wants to do her videos when she's riding a new cart or she has Einstein with her dog, and she's good looking, and she gets guys that hit on her. I know Paul with Baby May. She gets.
Well, Baby May is a hot piece of ass. Well, now Paul McGill's definitely not going to interview.
Definitely not going to interview you now.
No,
he'll laugh about that. Okay, if he watches this, he's going to die away laughing that you just said.
Well,
that.
actually, I've been watching him from from 2020.
He knows the guys are hitting on
March
her.
2020. No, he did some videos early on where he's just showing his wife in bikini in 2020, 21. So I think he likes it when people praise his wife's looks.
Yeah.
Because her sex
He
appeal.
doesn't have a problem with
her
it.
sex appeal.
Okay.
She has an obvious sex
Now,
appeal.
a lot of guys say, a lot of guys badmouth him because they feel like he's pimping her. But he's just secure. He's secure with the relationship.
plus
and he knows she's hot.
And plus
she's not
she likes.
bad looking
And plus
for
she's
40s.
what do you call a dog that barks and never bites? So she likes to bark but not bite. She likes to. She likes
she's
to do
actually very shy.
Yeah, I know.
But not in her
I
videos.
watched her videos, so I can tell what a person.
She's actually very
She's all
shy.
bark and no bite.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
likes to wear bikinis and bark, but
Yeah.
no. But she's not gonna. She's not. She's gonna be very loyal. I do have one more joke, but it's not Philippines related. It's on a smart blonde joke as opposed to a dumb blonde joke.
Oh, yeah?
You want to hear it?
Okay, but I only know dumb blondes, but go ahead.
Okay, this is a smart blonde joke. So you know who Heidi Klum is?
Yeah.
Smart blonde.
That, of course, I don't know.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson, the black African American astrophysicist, he's the one. People ask him questions, and he's on science. He has a show, and people ask him.
I don't,
hard
but
questions.
okay.
And so they're on a flight from L.A. to New York in the first class section, and they're sitting side by side. Neil deGrasse is looking at Heidi Klum, and he knows that her ex-husband is black, so he actually thinks he has a chance with Heidi Klum, Neil deGrasse Tyson. So he goes to her and he goes like, "Why don't we play a game? You ask me a question, and if I don't know it, I give you $1. And then you ask me a question, and I don't know it, I'll give you $1." And Heidi Klum looks at him like, "What are you out of your mind?" And first you ask me a science, you ask me a science question, I won't know it, and I'll ask you a question about fashion, and you won't know it. So that's stupid. Heidi Klum goes, and then after about a half hour, Heidi Klum goes over to Neil and says, "Let's play this game, and we'll do it with science. But instead of $1, I want to do it for like $100."
I would imagine so. Okay.
Okay, 100.
Who cares
So
about $1?
so if Neil deGrasse Tyson goes first. He goes, "What is astrophysicists call the distance between the Earth and the Sun, where we measure its distances in the solar system?" And Heidi Klum looks at him like, "I have no idea." And she goes, "The distance between the Earth and the Sun, we call that 1 astronomical unit."
Okay.
And then that's how we measure the distances between Mars and
Yeah.
the Kepler belt. Okay,
I would say less than
Right.
half of 1%. Less of 1/10 of 1%
right.
would know
so,
the answer to that.
Right. So then Heidi Klum says, "Well, okay, I can ask you a science question." He says, Neil very calm. He says, "Sure." So he goes. So Heidi Klum goes, "What goes up the hill with 2 legs and then comes down the hill with 3 legs?" And Neil deGrasse goes, "Ooh," he starts to sweat. He goes, "Well, that's not an astrophysics question. That's a biology question." He goes, "Yeah, but we said it's science." He goes, and he's going, "Can I call a friend from Harvard?" And Heidi Klum goes, "Sure, but we have to raise it to $10,000 if you want to call your friend."
Oh, yeah.
They're fairly wealthy. So, okay, so he calls his friend, this first class, they have cell phone. They call from the phone, or he texts this Harvard guy, and this guy's been to Borneo, he's been to the Amazon, he's been to the Congo, so he's a well-known zoologist.
World renowned.
And so he asks this guy, "So what animal climbs up the hill with 2 legs and comes down with 3 legs?" And the Harvard zoologist goes like, "I don't know either. You're gonna have to give her the money." So he writes her a check. Neil deGrasse to Heidi Klum, gives for $10,000, and Neil deGrasse goes to him. So what goes up with 2 legs and comes down with 3? And Heidi Klum goes like, "I don't know," and gives him $1.
Yeah, well, that check isn't good.
Yeah.
That was the first mistake. She's not a good hooker because a good hooker won't take a check.
Heidi Klum is a smart
I know she's
blonde.
a model. She's not a hooker.
And she has several TV shows.
Yeah.
Where she eludes intelligence.
I've heard lots of jokes too. So,
There were a lot of dumb blonde, but that's a smart blonde joke. Yeah.
all right, yeah, that's
Okay.
good. Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard different variations of that joke.
Yeah, I guess it's a pretty
Yeah, with
popular
attorneys
joke.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's the plan?
Yeah, it's a good one. So yeah, well, my plan is to evaluate the dating situation in the Philippines, and hopefully.
So wait a minute.
And
Tinder isn't Tinder more or less not just a dating site? Isn't it a hookup site?
Well, that in the Americas.
And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I just think it's
well, America definitely, but from what I've watched a lot of other vloggers, and maybe even the Filipino piece of this, or other ones, I don't know what the ones, and they say in Asia, Tinder is a legitimate dating site.
It is.
And why I picked Tinder because I only want people in Dumaguete within like 10 miles from
You
my
can
hotel.
do that, and there are 2 very good sites. They're not cheap, but they're very good. One is Filipina Cupid, and
Right.
you choose the area or how many kilometers they are away from
okay.
you, and also Christian Filipina. Both of them are paid for sites,
Right.
and Christian Filipina especially reviews the girl. They have to prove
Right.
themselves that they're not married.
But here,
They
I'm
need a set of
looking,
ar-
but I'm not looking for a wife. I'm looking for a holiday girlfriend. So I don't know if Christian.
That's okay.
Filipino-
Even if you want a good girlfriend and you don't want a wife, that's
I
okay.
just want a holiday
you want to
girlfriend.
make sure she's not setting you up for money or rip you off.
Right.
Like you go to sleep at night, you have to lock up your wallet every time or sleep it under your pillow. You need someone you could trust, right?
Right.
So you don't want to wake up with no. I grew up in Vegas, okay,
Yeah.
and after my wife passed away, I used to date girls in Vegas. I've woken up in a hotel and found no clothes left. All my clothes are gone.
Okay, yes.
And she gave me a Mickey, and we never did have fun. That was the plan, but all of a sudden I got really sleepy and confused and dizzy. I woke up. Luckily, I put my wallet, my Rolex, my keys to my car, and everything in the hotel safe.
Right.
Okay, luckily, because it wasn't much long after that Mickey hit me, and I'm on the bed and nothing's happening. And when I wake up, there's no clothes in the room, and I have to call down and ask for someone to come up. Okay, so I
Wow.
asked. Yeah,
That's a story. Now that's a good story.
that's embarrassing, man. That's big time.
Embarrassing, but that's a
very
good
big
story.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Is my air on? No, it's red. Okay, let me
Yes.
put my air on.
So well, like I said, I'm dating older girls, so maybe there's a little bit less risk. But yeah, when I was in Thailand,
Why are you not
the
looking?
hotel had the front desk had safe deposit boxes, so
Yeah.
I would put my money, my cash, and my passport and everything in the safe deposit.
I know you got to be
boxes.
careful, but especially in Vegas. 'cause
Yeah, so
Vegas,
even this so-called girl that I met last night, who seems to be a regular girl,
there it
and
goes.
I should be cautious and stuff. But the problem is like with dating a regular girl in the Philippines is like well, how long I'm here only 3.5 weeks. How long is it going to take to get her into my hotel room? If she's a regular girl.
Philippines is really very different, and I've been to 16 countries. As far as dating, Philippines is different, just like Vegas is different.
Right.
It's just a whole different atmosphere here. Very, very different.
Right.
If you're going to Angeles City and you're going to the clubs,
Well,
and-
obviously they get done the same day, but I'm doing what looks like what I call a regular woman who's a widow. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get her to,
so you're not looking for a young 24, 28-year-old?
No. The minimum age is 35 or 35, 39. But somehow, same thing is that I'm matching or getting more faster success with the older women because they're less
So
competitive.
you're going to find a lot of women have children already, even though
Right.
they may not be married.
But if they're older, the children are going to be adults anyway. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's one
typically.
advantage of
So
an
that's
older
what you're
woman.
hoping for, is that if they have children, they're adult children, not living at home.
But like I said, within a half hour, I went through all the older women that were thin. I swiped left on all the fatzos. And within a half hour, there were no more
So
women.
long. All
There
right.
were no more women.
Nobody left? Well,
There were no more thin women that were over
there actually
35.
are quite in
Over 35.
Thailand, they're thinner when they're older.
Right,
I'll
definitely.
be honest with Thailand
that-
has thinner older
absolutely,
women.
absolutely.
They have very good-looking older women. Okay,
They do.
Great bodies.
A lot
Not as
more.
much as in the Philippines.
More, yeah,
Definitely less in America.
Yeah.
Okay, so and let's see.
Let's see, but yeah, I have like
I'm
so
trying to
so
think back
so I matched.
Costa Rica.
So now I have a second date with this woman tonight. I don't know how far. I got to touching her shoulder, so maybe we can get to a kiss tonight, or who knows?
Just
Maybe.
just take it slow. That's
Take
all.
it slow.
You don't want to scare her off.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, because
But
they get scared real quickly.
Because I swiped right all day yesterday. Not that much. I swiped right maybe on 10 ladies. I now got like 5 matches.
Just ask her if it's okay to kiss her on the cheek.
Okay, but now I'm thinking I got 5 other women that I have matches with. Like, ooh, what do I do now? Some of these matches look better than the one that I did the match first. But
Well, and
that's
by the way, they don't understand dating. Their concept of dating here is different than the concept that you will have in your mind from America.
Yeah.
If you're with one girl and you've gone out to dinner with her, and or you bought her a gift, that you're done. There's no more dating. You can't be seeing different girls on different nights. Then you're a chick boy, which
Yeah.
means you're just out there to just to sleep with different girls and everything. I know
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So I
they
have,
don't
so I have
date
this.
here.
So I have this conundrum, and
Yeah.
that's the word that comes under. It was the little fishy, the little thing, Groucho Marx, the little chicken. The word is conundrum. I now have 4 or 5 matches on Tinder because some of them
So
waited a few hours.
unfortunately, you're going to have to stick
So
with
I
one.
have this woman who seems to be nice. She's a little bit older than some of the other ones, but she seems to be, she's 57, attractive for her age. There are women that I matched that are in their 40s that are more attractive because they're in their 40s. Yeah.
So there's physical attraction, but there has to be a mental connection.
Right.
So here's the problem. I know, and you're typical American. The grass is always greener. Okay, that's the problem.
As
Okay,
soon as you got some extra matches, well,
there's
how do I
always
see
a
these matches?
prettier, smarter, better one, a girl. There will always be. I'll just let you know. So you have to find one that you connect with, and you have to give it some time. That's why 3.5 weeks isn't enough time. Now you might spend a month with. Could I ask you what the name of this lady is?
Oh, it's got like a hard name, like something with an N. Nidif. I never heard of the name before.
Have you asked her more than once what her name is?
Well, we got it from what? From I asked if the name that she's using on Tinder is her real name, and she said yes. So it's like Nidef or something.
It's a weird name. Okay.
Yeah, it's a weird name.
Ask her if it's okay if you name her something that you feel comfortable with. If she reminds you of a certain name like Nadine or something else,
Right.
Ask her if it's okay. Because usually they're very easy to get along with. They'll have no problem with it. Because tell them it's very difficult for you to for being an American, it's difficult for you to say, call her that and remember that. Say you don't want to not call her anything, or is it okay, or would you prefer me to call you dear or sweetheart or something else? Just ask her. That's the best way, communication.
We'll see how the second date goes.
Yeah.
And see, like I say.
So you have a second date?
Yeah, we already lined up. No, because I didn't. Again, mentioning.
I'm getting a net
getting back
right
to
here.
Mark Thornton, he had a great story about his wife. Meaning his first wife, how she didn't say anything, and he thought the date was terrible. She said nothing, and entirely his eventual wife.
Oh, Caroline, who's my wife now for 3 years, she stood me up.
Yeah, well, she said they said nothing, so he thought that the date was a failure. And the same thing, we were sitting at on the boulevard by those lights and on one of the benches, and I was going through my phone, showing all my photos from Cambodia and Thailand, all the Angkor Wat, and I'm doing a lot of the talking, and then I ask her, trying to get a little bit of how's your daughters. I didn't feel like it's all about me, but and when I'm sitting as close as I possibly can without touching, so we're about like a quarter of an inch apart, and if this was a Thai woman, she would have her hand on my knee, but nothing like that. So. But then, she says it's getting late, like 8:30 or whatever, and so I'm walking her back to where she's parked her vehicle. And then that's how I know I did it, because she goes she goes out of her way and says she'd like to have dinner again with me tonight. And I said, well, we trade WhatsApp numbers, or I put my number on your WhatsApp and whatever. So
That's good.
And she's texted me, and then when I got back to the hotel, she started texting me even before I got back to the hotel.
She had a good time, and she got home
and
safe.
I got back, I had a good time, and then she texted me this morning when I woke up. So
There you go.
definitely that
So I want you to understand.
she's indicating that she likes me.
I understand.
So now and I touched her shoulder after she said she wanted the second day. So, this will make my move. Let me give her a feel, her shoulder, like I did one of these things.
That's fine.
That's
Fine. That's not too much. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so today I'm figuring out, can I
When
get
you
my...
see her, bring her a little gift.
Okay.
Something simple. Just go to the mall and find something simple. Nothing flamboyant or expensive.
We always tricky
Nothing
that.
big. Just a little something. Okay. The problem with Filipinos is they don't understand dating versus falling in love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you went out one night and now she's ready to marry you. I swear to God, it's
Well, we'll
so
see.
weird. It's so weird.
Well, so that's what the women are thinking. I'm thinking like, well, how far can I get tonight? Can we get a kiss? Can we get my hands on her knee?
Now, do you
Yeah.
plan on marrying someone if you find them?
No, this is
Not
just
at all.
holiday
You
girlfriend.
need to tell her that.
Yeah,
Tell her
looking
I'm not looking for
I'm
marriage
looking for
at
a
this
holiday
time.
girlfriend, yeah.
Just tell her at this time. You don't have to say I'm never, but you can say at this time I'm not looking for marriage, and I am looking for physical company to join me, to show me places and stuff like that, and of course I'll pay your way, but don't offer.
Well,
don't,
I think that would be a real turnoff for this woman. Yeah, I would offer her money. She would like slap me if I offered her an allowance.
Well, you're going to eventually have to tell her that you're not looking for marriage, okay?
Right.
I'm looking, at this time, I'm not looking for marriage. I'm looking
Yeah,
for,
'cause, yeah.
I believe from America, what we do is we have to date for a while before we jump into anything as a relationship. So, but I do need someone to guide me and stay
Right.
with me
Yeah,
as I
because
travel.
I don't know how to get to.
Just be very.
I don't even know how to get to Sikihor or how to get to a port or get on a boat.
It's not that difficult. And by the way, did you
But
get my?
it's not that
I have to throw this out there. Do you have my ebook?
Yeah, I do, and I
Everybody
read it.
laughs when I say
read
that.
it, but I only have an iPad, so I didn't download it. So
Dude,
I
you're
read
supposed
it.
to read it before you come here.
I did read it, but I all the different parts about it. So,
Okay, Michael, look at the last 2 pages.
Yeah, I didn't download it though. Was the last 2 pages about dating?
It's about Filipinos.
Yeah.
It's all about Filipinos and dating. Yes, the last 2 pages. Do you have a SIM card for the Philippines?
No, I'm using my American. I have this new international plan that Verizon has. Before I left, I asked them about SIM cards and stuff. They said, "Oh, you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
We have this. If you upgrade to
Unfortunately,
you have the Ultra plan, but if you go up to our Super Ultra plan, then we'll give you 15 gigabytes of data per month on international.
And how much is that costing you a month? I'm closing my eyes.
Not that much more with the Super. They have a new simple plan.
How
so
much?
I don't know, but I just said sign me up for the Super Ultra plan.
Sometimes they work. They don't work very well for texting.
Yeah, sometimes I'm not getting good reception, and sometimes, like I say, when I was in Thailand, I was at one of these resorts. And
It's not bad.
I couldn't get grabbed
Yeah,
because my
you
phone
are
wasn't
going to
getting
need
data.
a SIM card. Okay.
So I always try to go without one.
Well, okay. Then
eSIM.
you're fighting. You don't have a Facebook page here that people can contact you with.
No, I have my regular Facebook.
But can you get your Facebook or only with Wi-Fi?
No, I can probably get it, but I've turned it off because I only have 15 gigabytes of data. I'm stingy with the data, so I turned off.
Okay, this is
I
where you're
turned
going to
off
get
data.
screwed up. Okay, you're screwing yourself. Okay, you want to find someone, but you're not making it easy for them to find you. Or if you do find someone, Facebook is very popular here in WhatsApp.
Yeah, that's what people keep telling me. Facebook.
Well, okay, if 20 people tell you this,
But I don't
what do you
understand-
think is right to do?
No, I keep doing that, and I don't understand it. So I went to Facebook. I joined these expat Dumaguete groups. I changed my locale to Dumaguete, and I go, okay, so how do I meet women on Facebook? I don't get it.
They're going to contact you.
No,
But
I haven't any woman contacted me through
because they
Facebook.
can't. You don't have a Philippine SIM card where they can easily communicate with you.
Yeah, but I have my Facebook account where I put my locales.
I understand, and here's the problem: your U.S. What
But just because I have an advanced degree doesn't mean I'm smart. So I got completely lost.
what phone company are you using? What service?
Verizon.
Okay, so it doesn't work here. I don't know how to tell you that. Okay, in a simple words, it does not work. Everybody thinks they could take an account from home and bring it to another country and it's
Right.
going to work the same. It does not.
Yeah, I do have some hiccups, but
It's got more than hiccups. It's fucked up. I'm going to be very clear about it.
And I'm stingy with the data, but
Okay,
yeah. So,
so
right now,
you
when I check Facebook,
open up your wallet.
I'm using the Wi-Fi.
You just
at
paid
the hotel.
1,000 baht a day for a girl in Thailand. You can't spend a couple hundred pesos for a SIM card. It's not even that much. Under 100 pesos,
No,
which
then
is
I think-
$2.
But then I have 2 phone numbers. Again,
Get a
just because
second phone.
I'll get a second phone, but I don't know if I want to buy a second phone.
Oh, Lord.
Really, is it that cheap? A second phone? Remember,
Yeah.
just because I have an advanced degree doesn't mean I'm smart.
Well, this is why I have the ebook.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, nobody's saying you're dumb, but
Right.
you're penny ante and pound foolish.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Okay.
Okay, penny ante and pound foolish. You want to find someone you want to make the most of your trip? Get a SIM card and get another phone, just for the Philippines.
Okay.
You could use that phone when you travel to different countries, so that you have different SIM cards. And when you go back home, if you're not going to use it in the U.S. or not going to give it away to one of your children or something like that, it doesn't have to be an expensive phone. You just want a smartphone, but not expensive. You don't need a Galaxy.
Or an iPhone. I'm an iPhone user.
Yeah, you're an iPhone user. Oh shit, that's another thing. Okay, so yeah, iPhones are difficult here. It just in itself, they're very good in the U.S. Very, very good because they protect you. The problem is their protection here, and especially if you get a protection service like Shark. You know,
Oh yeah. That's a waste of money. I signed up for Shark thing, and it screws up my phone. I have to keep disabling it. It's not worth the money.
you won't get anything. You won't be
Yeah.
able to send anything. You won't be able to get anything.
Yeah, that's been a waste of money. That was my biggest mistake because the Geo on the go.
My mind's blank. What do they
Geo
call it?
on the go says you should get a Shark Sank, and otherwise people are going to steal your bank information.
Okay, so you need to get an
It's useless
inexpensive
because
smartphone here, not expensive one. It's not going to be. $100 is a lot. $100 phone, okay, and get a SIM card with it, Philippine SIM card, and use that phone when you travel from country to country, and then you keep the paper that SIM card came in a little baggie, okay, that it comes in. Keep it, and when you're done with it, with this country, because it has the phone number on that piece of
Right.
paper that it fits in, okay. When you're done with the country and you leave here, you put that back in the bag and you mark it Philippines. When you go to Thailand, you'll have one for Thailand. Did you have a SIM card for Thailand?
No, I just used my phone. And again, I got into trouble because
shit.
I didn't. While I was using, I think it was because of Surfshank or whatever it's called, that VPN thing. I was stuck. Yeah, I was trying to use Grab.
The problem is
I was trying to use
VPNs.
Grab, and I was at a resort, and all of a sudden it wasn't working. My Grab. All of a sudden
All right.
it
So
shut down.
to all my listeners, yes, you need a U.S. phone number because problems could happen with your bank.
Oh, definitely, because they a lot of times my ATM card wasn't working, and I had to.
Yes.
You
have to let them know.
Yeah,
Well, you should let
sent,
them
no,
know.
they sent me.
Of course, that's all in the ebook.
No, it's different now. I called up one bank after another. And everyone said they only need to notify us anymore, over and over again.
BS.
No, because when that happens is when you use it the first time, they send you a text, and you have to reply back.
However,
yes, it's
you
me.
can't get that text.
Well, I did, because that texting has been pretty good with my Verizon. Some of the apps I use a lot of data, but texting.
A lot of people have problems receiving texts.
No, I've been getting
Any
the
kind of
text from Apple Pay. I also have Apple Card and I have Fidelity, and I've been getting the text. But
Oh. I'm not an Apple guy.
But sometimes Grab or some like height or weather. Some of these apps, some of these other apps.
Like when you go to another country, turn your VPN off and get a
the
SIM
VPN
card
was
and
a
have
waste.
a separate phone.
Yeah, my advice is not to get a VPN because it's just been effing up my phone.
Well, VPNs are good for like laptops,
Yeah.
but not when you're traveling to other countries. It's great for when you're in America. Okay?
Well, in America, I have my own network at home. I'm not going to do bank transactions at the
You
mall.
still need it, a VPN. But
Okay.
just to protect your but an iPhone automatically has protection.
Yeah, no.
But there's just you're being
Okay.
penny ante pound foolish. That's all I
Okay.
can tell you.
Well,
Spend the money.
more important is to
And,
see
and
how that.
unfortunately, in the ebook, it tells you where to go for the best prices for phones and for SIM cards. It has everything in that freaking
Okay.
ebook. Okay, so but you can't read it and you didn't download it.
Because I didn't bring a laptop. I only brought my iPad. I wasn't sure how to download it onto my
I
iPad.
used to have copies of it, but it's too many pages now.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
it's
figure out how
okay.
to get it to you, but I'll figure
I'm trying to
something
figure.
out.
No, I'll see.
Can you
how
receive PDFs?
Uh,
Do you know?
on my
Well,
yeah.
we'll
I
talk
think
about this after.
I think it's hard on my iPad to read them. You can read them, but you can't download them or something, or you download them and I can't find them. iPad is limited, so I didn't. Yeah, I wanted to save weight, so I didn't bring a laptop with me. I'm doing everything with my hotels, with my iPad. Oh, and another thing, yeah, I'm staying at one Sierra Hotel, and today's my last night. I said, can I extend? They said no, we're booked up, so I had to go find another hotel.
What did you find? Because all the hotels
I should
are
have asked.
rated.
I should have asked you. Oh, I used
shit.
I used the Agoda rating. So the hotel with the highest Agoda rating was my hotel, MY. It had a very high Agoda rating, so I booked that one for 3 nights. And another thing I learned is that 3 nights is the max, because if it sucks, you don't want to be there for more than 3 nights. Because I booked 4 nights at a hotel at Phuket, and the hotel really sucked. And then on top of it, how everything, the mattress is terrible, it was up a cliff, and then they charged me 100 baht because there was missing a spoon. I said, no, there was only one spoon. No, you're supposed to have 2.
So they want to charge you for a spoon?
Yeah, they charged me 100
Seriously?
baht. So I said,
What
okay,
is
I'm not
wrong
gonna
with
lose
this thing?
pressure. But yeah, that was the worst hotel I ever stayed at, and it was expensive. 'Cause
Yeah.
Phuket, everything's expensive. Phuket. I don't know how Paul lived a year in Phuket. I hated Phuket. And I'm so glad I didn't book a return flight because I left it open. Because as soon as I stayed the 4 nights hotel, I got out of there because everything was expensive in Phuket,
I
and
think my battery's dead.
and I tried the dating was terrible in Phuket.
Was it?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They didn't. Well, I can't. As a statistician, I should go
You
with
can get
sample
one-night
size is 1.
stands.
No, I got a woman. She advertised she was 34, but I said no, I won't date a woman that young. She says, oh, then I'm 44. She said. And then when I met her, she looked 44 because the picture she used an old picture. She used a picture that was 10
Whatever
years
you
old.
want, she is.
No, the picture was
I
like
know
10
I
years
wanted a
old.
lady boy. Oh, I'm that too.
No, she was so the picture was like 10 years old. She actually was like 44 when you looked at her in person. But then
Yeah.
she was so listless and unenthusiastic that after 2 hours we went to visit like a temple. I said, "This isn't working. Can
Did you
go?"
dine and dash?
You know, I told her, "Can you go?" And I had to pay her off to get rid of her.
You had to pay her off to get rid of her.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had
that's
to pay her
pretty funny.
1,000 baht for her to leave.
Oh, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, I said,
That's
yeah,
cheap.
but we didn't do anything. We walked around for 2 hours, and she had such a bad attitude that I told her, go.
Are you serious?
So yeah, so everything in Phuket was a nightmare.
I can't get my control to work. I can't shut the air off. It's
Okay,
gonna
are we
freak us
still
out.
on the air? Or
We're
we
still
talk-
on the air. Anyway,
Okay.
we're about done. We've been in over an hour, so
Okay, so
it's
good.
pretty long.
And we didn't even talk about some of the skeletons in my closet and all my mental health issues, and my hospitalizations. But
Oh,
then,
I'll be making fun of you. You don't want to do that.
yeah, no, that's good. I was
You're
afraid.
opening-
I was
you're digging
afraid
a hole. You're digging a hole, Michael.
Yeah, no, we can.
ditch
No,
it
we're out of
fast.
time, but yeah, the regular guy, he's normal compared to me. Okay.
Regular guy's actually a very nice guy.
Yeah,
now.
no, but he
I've
has
met
mental
him.
health issues. I can tell. As a fellow, he has anxiety disorders.
Somebody sent me a message.
I diagnosed him with GAD from afar because I have general anxiety disorder. A regular guy definitely has GAD. I mean, he goes to the airport like 7 hours early in Angeles City. That's someone with GAD would do that. with general anxiety. Yeah, he definitely has mental health issues. Nice guy, but has mental health issues. Regular guy.
We all have.
No,
we
but
all
he
actually have mental health issues.
It's true. There was a spectrum. He's higher on the spectrum.
He's higher on the spectrum. Now, somebody sent me a warning today. I was on one of my videos. Warning today that regular guy is here in Dumaguete. He came back to Dumaguete. He likes Dumaguete.
But he was only here for a day. I think he left already.
I don't know. So I said to him, "Why are you warning me? Because he's so good looking, he'll steal all the girls." I mean, what the hell are you telling? It's not like I see him every day, but he was actually a very nice guy. I had a wrong vision of him. Because when he first had his channel, he was a womanizer.
Yeah. Those are the best videos, and he took them off.
Those were the best. Okay, great. I
the ones
literally mocked him.
Yeah, his videos were
blocked
very racy.
him.
His videos are one of them in particular was very racy, and he took that one down. But one of them was definitely pushing the limit. But but those are interesting and fun. Well,
and I let him know he's not going to be here for very long because he keeps acting that way towards.
No,
females.
but now his videos are somewhat boring. They're just they're the same. He has some of this thing where he can't sit still for more than one night per place. So every video's the same. I'm checking in at a hotel. I'm checking out.
He does a lot of traveling, and I wouldn't want to do all that.
Yeah, but it's almost like
a very nice guy.
It's almost like a disorder.
He's good looking. He's taller than I thought. I thought he was a lot taller.
No, he looks tall in the
videos. And he's younger than I thought.
He's 40-something.
And I saw him at the ball. He was very nice and very polite, and I have a different view of him now.
But he definitely has high anxiety, though.
Well, but this is the problem. Sometimes we have preconceived notions of how a person's going to be, and then when you meet him, you sit down with you, talk with them, you find out that we all have problems. We all have backgrounds. We all have problems. And we all have mental issues, mental health issues. But actually, he's a very nice guy.
I can see that. I actually like his videos now, even though they're not.
There's another guy, Joe Pro.
I don't watch him.
He's actually very popular. He'll surpass Paul in less years. He's not up there yet, but he's very energetic. He's very active. He records everything. He's a nice guy. I haven't met him in person.
What's the name of his channel?
I think it's called Joe Go.
Joe Go?
Yeah. Because you use the GoPro.
I don't think I've seen that.
I got somebody waiting for me to rent a bike, so I got to go rent it.
Okay,
anyway.
So you two haven't pushed that one yet.
If I'm not doing peptides, I'm renting bikes. All right, so it was. I want you to come back, so I get a follow up on this
the dating.
Girl.
On the dating, on
this
Heidi kiss and tell.
girl.
Yeah, kiss and tell.
We're gonna call her Natasha, okay?
Yeah, I can
look
up.
That sounds like a sexy name. Say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, I can look up her name.
I appreciate you coming on. It's okay. You don't have to worry about her name.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure everybody would like to hear the follow-up, okay?
Yeah, and then, if you can put a good word.
Even if you're not here, I can call you and put you on here.
Yeah, well, you can put I can give you my American number on WhatsApp.
I'm going to get, but you can also, after that, you're going to give me your Philippine phone number in the next 24 to 48 hours. Don't be so fucking cheap, okay?
Okay.
Spend literally 50 to 100 pesos. I'll tell you where to go. It's called Evermall.
Right.
I'm going to tell you afterwards.
Right.
It's in the ebook, so you don't have it. I'll write it down for you.
Write it down.
And you'll go down there and you tell them I need an inexpensive.
Can I get it at Robinson's Mall? Because that's where I'm planning to go next.
No, I said Evermall.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, I know you don't, so I'm going to tell you and show you.
Okay.
Okay? You have maps, Google Maps?
Yeah. That's how I got here.
So you're going to look up Evermall.
Otherwise, it's hard to get here because I showed people on the maps, the trike drivers, and they go, no. And I showed another trike. Oh, no, I'm not going there.
So what do you mean, no, I'm not going there?
That's what the trike drivers said. I was showing them on the map. Can you take me here?
Find another trike driver.
I did. I finally found one.
But you don't have to show them first. You tell them where you're going. So you look at the province
I showed them
or
the
the
Google
city.
Maps, yeah.
You don't show them Google Maps. They don't know what a Google Map is. You think they have Google Maps here?
Yeah, they couldn't figure it out.
No, of course not. I've never seen a Google Map. They don't.
Well, I finally found one that wanted to take me.
You say to them where you're going. So what you could have said, you look at Google Maps, and you see what I'm next to or what anybody's next to. So Taverna Restaurant, okay, is right on the driveway coming to me, or right across the street is I'm sorry, you don't know, but this is what you'll learn. Or Nissan dealerships right across the street. So you look at the maps, you find something that they would recognize.
Right.
You look at the city, or in this case the province. They don't call them cities; they call them provinces. And you look up Nissan, and it says you're in Banalad, whatever you want to call it. And you say, I want to go to a Nissan dealership, and he'll in Banalad, boom, right on National Highway, boom, he knows where it is. He's going to take you there. There just before you get here, because you're looking at your map. You don't want to miss it, right? You want to make sure he's taking you the right way. So I know you're going to stare at your map because you have anxiety, okay?
Right.
So when you're looking at your map,
that's how we got it.
I already know
map.
you. So when you get there and you see Taverna and you see my place, you'll say, hey, can you make a right at the next driveway?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, but Nissan's like, sir, make a right at the next driveway, please.
Okay.
And you take them right to my place or to any other place you want to go. None of them understand you. They don't understand the language too well.
Right.
They don't understand. None of them will get unless you. They don't know what Google Maps are. They don't
Right.
have smartphones. Okay.
Right.
They're old school, older men that are retired and can't get another job other than driving around a petty cart. Okay.
Right.
I don't want to knock them too much. They're doing the best they can. They don't get paid a lot. How much
Well-
did you pay the guy, by the way? Here we go.
Well, no, I was
How
a
much
nice
did
guy.
you pay him? How much did he ask for, or how much did you pay him?
Yeah, I offered 50 pesos.
It's a
He
little
said
low.
60. I said, okay. And then since we had spent maybe 5-10 minutes driving around, I wanted to be a nice guy. I tipped him. I gave him just 100 pesos to keep it.
That's fine.
I
It's a little on the
wanted,
low
I
side,
wanted to be a
that's
nice guy.
fine. That was good. So
I figured
that's all
40
he wanted
pesos, 40 pesos would make his day,
So
and
he
I
was
would care
being
about it.
very honest with you because 50, 60 pesos is very little from Sierra Hotel to here.
Yeah.
Normally it would be.
And I gave him 100 altogether because I figured
That's good.
because we were going up and down
just
this
so
road
that you know,
here.
if you ever do it again, it's going to be typically 150.
Oh no, I
200.
got ripped off. I was at the Sunday. I
Airport.
was at the Valencia. Oh, I got ripped off there too. Even I don't
You
even
got
wanna
ripped
say-
off at the airport, I'm sure. Everybody does.
Yeah, I did. And I went to multiple places, but they're like a cartel. None of them would all quoting me an obscene price. But same thing at
800 pesos,
the
1,000 pesos.
Yeah, same thing with the
Oh God.
Valencia Sunday Market. I went there yesterday,
This is why you should.
and they're
guys.
all asking for 300 pesos to take me back to Sierra.
All right, we're going to
Hotel.
end this with everybody get the damn ebook. It's free.
Yeah.
And print it out so you have something to read on the 15 to 25 hour flight you have
yeah.
over here, okay?
Yeah.
Read it, okay? It will save you money, time, and energy.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And the one last thing. Can you beg Paul? I'll beg. I'm going to send an email. I'm
No.
going to beg Paul. How would I get to meet Paul? Can I beg? Begging would help? Guilt? Jewish guilt? Saying whatever. Okay, I'll send another email just telling my...
Wasting
just
your
on,
breath.
just on saying I really, really want to meet
There's
you.
too many people that want to take a picture with him. He doesn't need it.
Yeah, I know, but okay, I'll beg.
Well, you know what? Everybody pulls at you and you get tired of it. And at a certain point, you just say no.
Okay. Well, no, he doesn't say no. He goes
He doesn't respond.
He's not responding yet.
That's no. The response is no.
Okay.
I'll let you know how many people email me to contact Paul for him because they couldn't contact Paul themselves. You
Yeah.
did it, and 100 other people a week do it.
Okay. Well. Okay,
And I don't send those off to him.
Okay, so he's yeah. Well, I was afraid he's been drained. We were talking
Well,
about
no, he's just
overdone. Whatever, use your word. Yeah, he's
It's
he's had too
burnout.
many. Yeah, burnout. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, burnout. That's an accurate word.
he's just another guy that wants to live his life, and he has a YouTube channel. Okay.
Yeah,
And
for
take
him
it
it's
for what it
for him
is.
it's for me it's a big deal. For him it's an already burden.
Well, I mean, if you give yourself to everybody that wants something out of you, if you
Yeah.
you have no life of your own,
Right.
would it be fair to him?
Right. Well, like I said, if he has
He wants to spend time at home. He wants to watch a TV movie without being interrupted. He wants to spend time with his wife. He wants to go to the market and not be bugged by people that have questions every time they see him because they see him on
Or
on
want to take a
YouTube.
selfie with him.
There's
yeah.
a time and place to ask his questions. When he goes live, ask your questions.
Okay, well maybe he'll see this video and then if he sees this video, he'll probably never want to see me.
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, but anyway, maybe he'll see this video and maybe...
Do you think you'll see, hell, I forgot her name already.
Filipino P?
Yeah, Filipino
Well, she's in
P.
America anyway.
Doesn't matter if she was here. Do you think you'd have a chance to see her?
No, only if you got really, really, really lucky and she was doing those interviews on the street.
She actually has to go around with security. That's how bad it is.
Okay, yeah.
She has
But
to keep people at bay.
But actually, I don't want to see Filipino P. I don't have a sexual thing for her, so I don't really care.
Well, you don't have to have a sexual thing.
Or even-
for her
I'm
to
not
see
even curious.
Filipino
Or
P.
even curious.
Nobody said anything about sex.
No, but I'm not even curious. I mean, if I saw her, I would wave to her. And
So you have a
maybe
sexual
after-
thing for Paul?
No, not
I'm
really.
sorry. I'm screwing with you.
Yeah.
Michael, you'll do fine.
Well, who asked me a gay question? Oh yeah. Well, Well, again, when I was starting to feel better at the Malaysia hotel, with all I went traveling with one of the gay guys. I was feeling better, and the gay guy goes, "Do you ever had a homosexual experience?" Kept asking me over and over again. I go, No. So yeah, it's like
He was
just
trying to
forget-
hook up.
Yeah, he's trying to hook up. But and then he borrowed money from me, and he paid most of it back. Thank goodness. We went to the day I finally felt better. The last day I was at the Malaysia hotel before I went to we went to something called the Jim Thompson House.
Never heard of it.
It's a famous place. It's an American guy who made a lot of money in silk, and then went to Malaysia and disappeared without a trace.
Wow.
Anyway, so I taken the tour of his house, which is full of art and full of ancient Cambodian stuff that he bought, and it's a wooden house. And the gay guy I traveled with, he's just in the gift shop. He said, I don't want to do the tour. I just want to buy stuff. And then when he got there, he said, I forgot to bring my credit card. Can I borrow money? And I go, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't bring any money with me. Don't
Yeah,
loan money out.
no, I
okay?
did, so-
Especially in the Philippines, don't
Yeah,
loan money out. I
yeah,
don't care what the reason
yeah,
is.
so-
You'll never get paid back.
Yeah, so I got most of the money back. So
The concept here of a loan is
so the
not
guy,
the same concept.
so I said, okay, I'll give you the cash, but I'm holding all the silk shirts until you pay me. So,
And did you?
well, basically he rounded down, and I asked fees, and I was doing him a favor, and I probably lost like $3, $4, $5 on the deal.
That's not.
But anyway, he borrowed like $100, and I'm in my hotel room thinking, God, what if in that case comes back and says my ATM card doesn't work? And he's a lot bigger than me, like twice my size. I'll have a whole bag of silk shirts double my size that I have nothing to do with. Eventually, he paid me back 95%, 90% of what he owed me,
Oh, lucky you.
and
got that.
rounded down. I said, okay, no problem. I can $5. I'm not going to sweat it. He rounded down to like the nearest 1,000 peso.
So he
or
was
whatever.
a cheap
Bot.
BAS. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. All right. Let us have an update. When are you are you staying in Dumaguete for a long time, or are you going to be leaving?
I have a flight out of Manila on United March 4th.
But I mean, what are you doing between then and?
I'm open. Are you
Are you going to be traveling? Are you going to go to Bohol?
I'm having a great time in Dumaguete. I'll stay in Dumaguete. If I'm antsy and I want to go to Panglao or Siquijor, basically I want to find a woman I don't want to go. Regular guy has a good quote. He says, "Don't go to a romantic place like Panglao or Siquijor or Boracay."
Panglao is not romantic.
Or Boracay, whatever, by yourself. Don't go to a romantic place by yourself, like a beach resort by yourself. So if I can find
if you
a
go
girl,
to Bohol,
but right now I don't have any return. I don't have a return ticket back to Manila because I don't know where I'm going to be March 4th. I'm keeping everything open, so I'm greatly open.
That's another thing that's in the ebook. You don't buy round trip tickets, but
Yeah,
that's another
because
story.
So I'm buying I bought a one-way ticket to Dumaguete because I don't know what city I'm going to be on March 4th. I need to get back to Manila on March 4th to get my United ticket back to the States.
If you could figure out how, print the ebook and read it. You need help.
Yeah,
You need guidance.
Yeah.
And you're not doing the steps that you need to take to help yourself.
One good thing that you get from Paul's channel, that he makes a lot of mistakes, and somehow he doesn't beat himself up mentally for it. That's what I'm trying to learn from Paul's channel. He's very honest and transparent. He's made a lot of F-ups.
Haven't we all?
No, but he's transparent about them, and he seems to mentally handle it better than most people.
We got to go because I see Carolyn's
Okay,
about to
let's
leave,
go.
and I have a guy waiting for me.
Yeah, this is a long one. Okay, enjoy
Bye,
talking
everybody.
to you, Goldfinger. Bye.
Say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. If you stayed this long, we're about an hour and a half.
Okay, great.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. And be sure to ring that bell so you'll be notified when I post another video. See you then.